All right, hello. We are live again. This is going to have to be a quick live because I have work in just a few minutes. So, we are going to quickly go through the leaderboards for the European and Asian semifinals. We had day 2 today, just one more day to go, but it's an interesting just one day because for the individuals, we have literally the half the competition to go. So there's a lot of changes that can happen here, but we are going to start by just talking about what we've got so far and what we think can happen next. As comments pop up on the screen, I will definitely make sure to look at those and see what people have to say. So say hey if you're in the comments. But let's just jump right in because, like I said, don't have a lot of time today. So we are going to go through this kind of quickly. So, in first place, and this was kind of a surprise for me, we have Yellow Hoste. And before event 3, he was there, but I really wasn't thinking too much about how Yellow was doing. He just sort of seemed to be middling. You see, sixth, seventh, mid of the heat. He was in the top heat the whole time. So he just was coming in sixth and seventh. He wasn't winning things, but that you don't need to do that. But then he won the last event, and that I think that made us all take notice. And I think that event was pretty much made for Yella when you look at it. It was rope climbs, which you don't think of gymnastics. Yes, Dudley said he crushed workout 3. He did. And you don't usually think of a gymnastics movement as a big person movement, but this movement, rope climbs and legless, that is a big person movement. So Yellow Hoste using his strengths in workout 3 to really knock it out of the park. Easy, fairly easy win for him and put him into that top place position, which I don't think anyone was talking about going into semifinals. But like I said to start this, we still have half the events to go. We've never had a semifinals or a regionals where half of the events were happening on the last day. So this leaderboard looks like this right now. We could see a bunch of changes. Although Lazar came into today in second place and ends today in second place. So, but it is a tie. It is a tie for points if you look at that there. 267 for both. The reason that Yella is in first and Lazar is in second, that is because of that first place finish on event 3 that Yella has. But rope climbs and bike, that's a pretty good workout for a big athlete. So he took advantage of the things he had, and the box jumps were high. That workout was just built for Yella, and he did what he had to do to win it and to now put himself in a great position. I think he just went full time as an athlete. So we'll see this year. It looks like he's got a really good shot of making it back to CrossFit Games. I would almost guarantee it at this point. And maybe he'll be a mainstay now. He's still, let's see, how old is he? 29. Actually, he made his way onto the stage a little bit older. I put that in quotes because 29 is not old. Just for elite athletes, it's a little bit different. Second, we have Lazar. I think Lazar still has the ability to win this whole semifinal. So definitely keep on keeping an eye on Lazar this weekend. He could be on the top of the podium at the end of it. Hendrik Hapalainen, games athlete, always kind of just under the radar, but currently in third. Maybe if he does podium, he'll be a little bit less under the radar going into Fort Worth. But I think he could easily punch his ticket. He's in third right now. I don't think he has anything to worry about. Colin Bouchard or Bosshard, I think it's actually Bosshard. Bosshard, he is someone I had in my men to watch. 6th, 10th, 6th, doing really well. I think he could make his first games appearance. I think he was one position out last year. So maybe he has that like extra motivation of just missing it. Then we have Harry Lightfoot in 5th. He's another athlete that's been around for a while. So he could finally make his way to the games, but still have half the competition tomorrow. So we'll see. Uldis Upanek. I think there's a comment here about him. Yes. Wow, Uldis really struggled in event 3. Do you think placing first in the first 2 events was a significant factor in that? I don't think that that really had much to do with it. I think the events we saw in event 1, running is Uldis's thing. And then in event 2, he's also very good at toes to bar. Those were just great events for him. And then he's not a particularly big athlete. So Event 3, which we talked about as being really great for Yellow Hoste, who's a bigger athlete, not as good for someone like Oldest Upanik, who's just not as strong in those places of, being big and tall. So I think, I mean, at 25th is worse than I thought he would do in that event, but there was no way that Oldest was coming out here with a first or three first place finishes. So I think that what we saw in event 3 from Oldest Upanik has nothing to do with events 1 and 2. He did damage control on those first two events, as much damage control as you possibly can, literally. And event 3, I would have hoped for a little bit of a better position, but he's in 6th. A reminder, we take 10 athletes from Europe to the games, so still in a pretty good position to qualify. Anol, he is someone that I had in my list to make it to the games this year. Would be a rookie. I think that he still has a good chance of making it with what we have coming up. Did really well in that final event. So we'll see how he does throughout the weekend. Luca Vunjak, not an athlete I knew as much about. He did very well, as you could see on event 1, very well on event 2, and then not well at all on event 3. This is what's interesting about having only one event on day 1. It's that we had the heat set and there was a lot of opportunities for changes today. And we're seeing some of the people who were in that top heat going into day 2 because of one event falling. So I don't know. I think Luca may have been at his top position already. And I think this Luca will go down. Now, Luka Dukic, the Luka below him, Lazar's brother. I think everyone wants to see him make it back to the games. It was unfortunate to see him struggle on event 2. He did not look anything like his brother did on that event, but he has solid finishes surrounding that. 4th, 2nd, maybe just weak in some other areas. And Dudley says workout 3 was very CrossFit. Yes, I think workout 2 was also pretty CrossFit as well. So it's interesting to see Luka Dukic have such polarizing positions on those 2 workouts. Workout 1 was just very much a cardiovascular workout, lots of running, 2.5 miles of running. And then if you could just handle that barbell at a high heart rate, that was what that workout was event. But these other 2, very traditional CrossFit. So it's interesting to see someone like Luca have such opposite positions on those 2 workouts. Moving down this list, we have Moritz Fiebig. He's a games athlete sitting in 12th. Not a bad place. He has moved his way up through every event, 19th, 14th, and 9th. So he might continue to make his way up leaderboard. I would keep an eye on him. And right below him, BKG, Bjorkvin Carl Gudmundsson. I think he is going to continue to make his way up through day 3, half the events. I think BKG will punch his 11th ticket to the CrossFit Games. I believe he'll be the first person. Cole Sager also has this opportunity, but he competes next week. He could be the first person ever to qualify for 11 CrossFit Games consecutively. Ben Smith went to 11, but he was invited to his final CrossFit Games where BKG would have to qualify in the traditional means. Keep on going down this list because we do have some names here. Enrico Zanoni, he could possibly make his way back up. Victor Hoffer, interesting to watch him today. Did much better than yesterday, but some of the events he was winning his heat, but he was in the second heat. So was he pushed as much as he could have been? I'm not sure. Does he still have the ability to make it into the top 10 with an 18th place position after 3 events? For sure. So Victor Hoffer could still punch his first ticket to the CrossFit Games. I wouldn't count him out, but he's not in the best position. And I think part of that could be based on where he was seated today, but that's based on how he did yesterday. So no one to blame but himself there. Yorgos Karvis, this Greek athlete, he is someone to keep your eyes on possibly as well, although that rope climb workout, that's a lot of upper body pulling. If that's not something you're great at, it really makes a big difference. So we'll see if he can make his way back up. Yona Koski, this is the athlete that I was really scrolling down here for. I think he's got to be injured. I think he has to I think something's gotta be going on. He has that 11th place finish, and after that first event today, I was like, "Maybe he'll be okay." But no, 26th in the second event or third event, second event today. I think, Janikowski's not gonna qualify. Could he pull a Hail Mary in the next 3 events? Sure. We still have half the points up for grabs, but 110 points after half the events, it's not good. He's going to be in the second heat. They will reseed, I believe, before the 6th and final event, but it's just not looking great for Janikowski. I feel like something's going on. He literally won worldwide, the Open and quarterfinals, and now he's in 24th in semifinals. I mean, there has to be a reason, right? So I would expect to hear more from Janikowski after this weekend about what's going on. I don't have a lot of time because I got to head to work. So we're going to move right over to the women here. So I'm going to scroll up and we are going to move over to the women's side here in Europe. So in first, it looks exactly the same as it did yesterday. We have Gabby Magala. I was very impressed with Gabby Magala in event 3, which is her worst finish so far. 7th place. She has a first place, a second place, and a 7th place. But for Gabby Magala, that rope climb event, it's something that she's struggled with for years. So to see her pull a 7th at the end of that event, that is more significant than any of her other finishes. First and second, the other 2 events, those are events she should do well in. But a 7th in event 3, fantastic for Gabby Magala. Says a lot about what she's been doing over the off season. So very impressed with her there. She literally gave like a fist bump as she crossed the finish line for her worst finish so far. And I think that says a lot about how much effort she's put into the legless rope climbs and how significant that 7th place finish is. Great position for Gabby going into day three, and she's going to have a chance at repeating as the Europe champion 2 years in a row. So I think really impressed. So Laura Horvath, she is our reigning CrossFit Games champion. She is currently in second. We moved her way up throughout today. She is the opposite of Gabby. Well, not quite. She had a 7th place finish day 1, which was great on that event for her. Really is very, very good for Laura. Kind of like Gabby with the rope climbs, Laura with this running workout. You know, they both minimized their weaknesses. So very impressed with both of their performances there. Then a first place on event 2. You know, Laura's very good. So never count her out. But I did think with the rope climbs that she was going to win event 3 because she's got a great puller. She has that rock climbing background. I thought the legless rope climbs, I know she's a little bit heavier, but I thought she was going to do a little bit better on that. But she also had 2 no reps at the end. I believe Adrian Bosman said he thought he saw her hand touch the box on one of them. So that's a no rep. And I don't know what happened on the other one. Possibly she jumped off. You had to step down. So on that last rep, a lot of the times you're like, I want to be off. I want to get across that finish line, jump off. You have to step down now. They're trying to avoid Achilles injuries and things like that. So yeah, Laura had 2 no reps, probably could have gotten second there. It just, yeah, she was not going to get first though, because the first place winner, Emma Tall, was way ahead of everyone. So Emma Tall, very impressed with Emma Tall's finish. Amy Kringle, I had her on my people to watch and not in the field to make it to the games, but she has looked very good this weekend. And I heard this rope climb event was a weak event for her, and she did not look weak in that event. 5th place is fantastic. 2nd, 4th, 5th. Let's all watch Amy Kringle tomorrow because she could be punching her first ticket to the CrossFit Games. She's looked very good this weekend. I think that she may struggle a little bit on the snatch event, but she has the points in the room to have a not great finish. Because if we look at the 10th place points here right now is 195, and Amy Kringle has 276. So already almost has 100 points out of a borderline position. She's looking really great. Emma Tall also looking pretty good this weekend. Third, eighth, first, absolutely demolished the field on event 3. She looked great on those rope climbs. There was one person that may have been competing with her for a great time. We will get to her. She did not finish the event. If you didn't see this, you might want to go back and watch it, but we'll get there in a second. We're going to keep going through the women who are on the top of the leaderboard first. Karen Fryova also looked great on the rope climb events. A bigger athlete. Bigger athletes did really well on the rope climb event. It was just a matter of, which you might not think rope climbs, but it was a legless rope climb. You get that jump, less room to climb. And then you had the bike. Bigger athletes do better on the bike. And then it was a tall box, 24 inches for women, 30 inches for men. Being taller helped at that too. Jacqueline Dahlstrom, I've been saying I thought she was going to safely make it into the field this year, and she is looking really good. You know, just having decent finishes throughout. It's all you need to do. You don't need to win it. Top 10 go to the games. Everything resets after this. If you want, I mean, winning would be fantastic, right? Winning semifinals is a great way to go into the games. But for a lot of these athletes, you just want to get to the games. So Jacqueline Dahlstrom doing exactly what she needs. Emma McQuaid, very similar. Claudia Gluck, very impressive. She was in the second heat and she won both her heats in her events today with a third and a sixth overall. But she won both their heats. She's in front of the French crowd. They're cheering her on. I think Claudia Gluck has a chance of punching her ticket as well. Jennifer Muir, she did really well on event 1, not so good on event 2, and then really good on event 3. I think I would put her less likely to make it to the games than Claudia Gluck, but they would both be rookies. So let's keep an eye on them. Now in 10th, Linda Kiesman. I don't know her very well, but obviously has finishes that mean that we're not talking about her that much, 16th, 12th, and 10th during the events, but doing enough to be in contention here. So very impressed with what I'm seeing on the leaderboard here. Elena Cartala Sanhuya is an athlete we've been talking about for a long time and had some good finishes this weekend, definitely within striking distance. A couple athletes that I'm a little surprised to see where they are now. Andrea Solberg, not as surprised. I thought there was a chance she'd be about where she is. But Alicia Fuliano, she has recently went full times as an athlete as well and really trying to go all in on CrossFit. She had that issue with rheumatoid arthritis, I believe, she's actually reversed since really focusing on CrossFit and her health. I'm surprised to see her in 13th. But again, we do have half of the event still to go. So a lot of things can still change here. She's in a good position. She could make her way into that top heat by the end of day 3 tomorrow. Keep your eyes on her. She has a lot left that she can do. Moving on, we have Marianne von Rohr, the woman who won the Open, the High Rocks athlete that everyone's skeptical about. Still in a decent position, but has progressively gotten a little bit worse as we've gotten a little bit more CrossFit-y. So we'll see how she does tomorrow. Manon Anganese sitting in 18th. That's still definitely a position that you're within striking distance of the games. There are possibilities there. Now, 20th is who I want to talk about. Rebecca Vidison was looking amazing on event 3. Looked like no one in her heat was even going to touch her. She was in the third heat. And then she came down from a rope climb, injured her leg. I did record this, so when I do a video tomorrow wrapping up the whole thing, you'll be able to get a better look at it, but you could go back and try to watch it now. It was sad to see. Adrienne Bosman was on the call at the time as well. She just collapsed. You heard Chase go, "Oh no." Then medical team came over, looked at her, and then let her get up. She was like crying. Let her get up and let her get back on the bike. She biked, did the rope climb, came down slowly so she didn't injure her leg again or, aggravate it. And then went to do the box jumps and literally like her knee just buckled when she came down and she fell on her side. And then she had to be put on a spine board to carry it out. I checked her Instagram right before I went live and I didn't see anything announcing anything. And it doesn't say withdraw. It says 38th. So we'll see. A lot of questions there. Someone said Manon is strong. She'll be okay tomorrow. I agree. She is strong. She has some events to come that could make a big difference. So there will be shaking up. Again, half the events tomorrow. There's a lot to change here. Real quick, let's go over to the teams. Again, I got to head out for work in a few minutes. So let's head over to the teams. These are the first tickets punched to the 2024 CrossFit Games. The team event is over. These are our 8 teams going to the games from Europe, 10 women, 10 men, but we'll talk more about those tomorrow. These are your teams: CrossFit Prestanda Krieger, CrossFit Walleye Orca, that has a bunch of individual athletes on it: Jamie Simmons, Elliot Simmons, Mia Hesketh, and Christoph Horvath. That is Laurel Horvath's brother and Gabby Magala's boyfriend. So a lot of big names on that. Cool to see them going. CrossFit Oslo Krieger, PSL, CrossFit Oslo Krieger, BLST, which I believe is Blast. Not surprised to see lots of CrossFit Oslos, CrossFit Butcher's Lab, Fleck, that one. CrossFit Oslo Krieger Riz, C23 CrossFit, the program Motion, who I think underperformed this weekend. But again, everything resets the games. They punch that ticket, and that's what matters. And CrossFit Holistic. Those are your 8 teams headed to the CrossFit Games. The 9th team out was quite a bit of points out. There was some chances for teams to sneak in between and for a surprise team to end up, but the 8 were kind of set before the last event and ended up being about what we expected. So congrats to all these teams punching their first ticket. Although the team that technically punched the first ticket, I believe Asia would have finished up first. And if we go over to the teams, I don't know why it switched over to women, but to the teams, KT CrossFit Kolesnikov team, who I told you was going to win this in my predictions video. First, second, first. They won it. No one else to really watch. I'm surprised they lost one event. Really, that's all I have to say about that team. Going over to the men and women over here real quick in Asia. We'll do the women first. That's what popped up first. Sungjin Choi making her way back after taking last year off. And third, first, second. Strong finishes. Her in first, not surprising, although I thought Sarah Kai was going to be first here. Only 3 points separate them. She has a first, fifth, and first. The thing is, in Asia, in these regions, you can't afford some of those bad finishes we had for some of the other people in the bigger regions where more people go. You can't let people middle for you in Asia. But these are the 2 women that I thought were most likely to make it. 3 women are going to the games from Asia this year. They got an extra spot. So those 2, as you can see, points-wise, have separated themselves. It's going to be a battle for first and second between the 2 of them, I would imagine, for the next 3 events. Although a lot of points, like I've said a bunch. Half the events still left to go. But then we've got Anastasia Dodonova, we'll go with. She is someone I had on my list to watch. She is currently sitting in third. Not super surprised there. Evie Hollis, I think, or Evie. I think it's Evie. Evie Hollis, she is sitting in fourth, was also on my list to watch. And then I had Dewan Jung. I thought she was going to take that final position, had a bad event 3. Again, upper body pulling for women, that's somewhere that a lot of women struggle. So sometimes you'll see a woman who's really good at a lot of things, really good CrossFitter, but that upper body strict pull might not be as good. And that's what it looks like for Dewan Jung. Again, half the events tomorrow. Lots of opportunity for some movement here. Although I think we're going to say Sarah Kai and Sungjin Choi are going to probably be your top 2 women out of this region. Heading over to the men real quick, we have Ivan Kukartasev. I thought he would be in first or second. He is currently in first, sixth, third, and a first to end day 2. Not surprised to see him in the top position. 2 men go to the games from Asia. So I predicted he would be one of them. He has a 15-point buffer so far. And then someone else to keep your eyes on, Arthur Semenov. I think he'll do well on the snatch ladder tomorrow. He's pretty strong. So someone to keep your eye on to move his way into that top 2. Ant Haynes also had one really bad event, that 22nd, but still in striking distance. Although his points, if you look at the points between Arthur and Ant, it's a lot. It's a lot. I think Arthur Semenov might be your best bet to make it into this top 2 out of the top 4, just because of the point spread there and the fact that points are so tight in this region. You can't let people middle. Anyway, like I said, I do not have a lot of time today because someone said, you work on Saturday. I do. I have to go to work. But I appreciate you all for watching. I will be back with a full wrap up in the next day or two. Watch tomorrow. Lots of tickets being punched the CrossFit Games. And watch this too. Subscribe, like, do all the things. Appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.